So Michael, you're going to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Michael Stoika. I've been playing the flute for around 7 years now, and I'm going to be playing the Reinecke Concerto for flute and orchestra. So yeah, this is it's also like an orchestral piece. So I think it's like very like virtuosic. So I kind of make sure to like be like as lyrical as I can when I play this piece.
Wonderful. Before you begin, that was a really, really great introduction. We got a really good character of who you are as a person, as a performer. There's some really interesting tidbits about the Reinecke Concerto. He is somebody who is, considered one of the native sons to his country. He is somebody who is known for writing amazing flute works. But what's really cool about him is that this concerto in and of itself is something that he wanted to write for all the different instruments, and he passed away before he could do such a thing. But this concept of lyricism and concept of virtuosity with all the different personalities combined, it's really a tour de force in that way. So I would love to know from you what exactly pulled you to this work, or what are some of the aspects of the piece that you fell in love with?
I just really fell in love with just like the melody. It just sounded like a piece that I would have like a lot of fun and enjoy playing, and I could really like connect to emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't like too abstracted. You don't need to really think too much about the interpretation. It kind of just comes across really naturally for me.
Beautiful. out of the way, I would love for you to start at H. Take a moment, take a breath, and just think about curation. Look at the melody. Look at the overarching sweeps and swoops, the feel of waltz, the feel of dance. And let's, if we can go a few measures before H. You played it the first time through. It was glorious. It was beautiful. Everything was where it needed to be in terms of notes, in terms of rhythms and things like that. Your technique cannot be questioned, right? But now it's time to really step into the story of this feeling. Now, this particular piece doesn't have a story, so it's up to us to create it, right? Yeah. So right here at letter H, as we were just playing, there's a lot of, I mentioned there's an overlying arc of things, but there's also a certain intimacy in the sense of telling a person a secret or sharing a joke in a whisper with your friend, you know, the confidentiality of the story in and of itself. So as we're looking at these different moments, you're going from forte, this big sound, into this piano section that is just so tender, right? So let's hear more of that concept. Let's hear more of the story. All right, this is letter H, and I'll just gesture here and there to show what's what. Color here. Okay, so we're here at the forte. Let's play just that B by itself to see how we can actually fill the room with our sound and really savor our technique in that moment. Just play the note B, the most glorious B you have. Forte, glorious. Now, are we giving the music stand our B, or are we giving the audience our B? Yes, that's curation. When we think about the gift that we have and how we share it, how we impart it. I had a thought about the difference between creating and performing. Performing is living the music, living the joy of the moment and being able to share that story. And creating is the act of giving life through sacrifice, meaning that it takes a part of you. It takes a part of you to create that life. In order to put things together, then we have to really have that big impression of what it means as human beings to just give this music. And why do we want to give it? Well, we want people to feel good. We want people to to heal. We want people to feel emotions, right? And in that sense, we are storytellers. This is a grand story. There's so many amazing moments where we sing out and we fill the room. And why do we do it? Because it is in our heart to do so. So all that great technique that you got, now let's really connect to that soul inside of you, that personality that handed me that amazing rose at the beginning of this masterclass. What a giving spirit you are. Let's see how you give this music. Bravo. That is really the tip of the iceberg. I often think about how when we give out our emotions to the audience and how we share our moments, I often think about Astor Piazzolla, because really there is a visceral reaction that we get when we hear that concert tango music. Of course, there's a history behind it, but there's a punch to it. It's in your face, it's bold, right? And you really have to go outside of yourself to really deliver that music the way it needs to be delivered. In a way, this is kind of no different. I'm not saying the strength of Astor Piazzolla's concert tango music should be embedded in this, but rather really enjoying the overlying sweeping arches. It's such an amazing feeling to play the flute, isn't it? The idea of just letting that air come out of your body into the instrument. It's almost like you are giving and breathing life. So we get all of this throughout this piece. Now let's go right to the beginning. Our very famous melody right at the start. We know it, we love it. The curtains are opening. Just you. Just the melody itself, just you. Thanks. Let's put it together. Let's put it together. I'm keeping the stand over here. What I noticed when you delivered this line from the first time, obviously these were the very first notes that you played, but there was a certain giving that you gave, and at the end, the cadence, you gave a full valued dotted quarter this time around. And isn't that a great feeling? And just as a little tip, a little bit of housekeeping, as we're playing our music, as we're learning things, it's always great to err on the side of playing full valued notes. What does that mean? If you have a quarter note on beat 4 of a 4/4 measure, that means playing that quarter note until the downbeat, right? Or if it's on the downbeat, playing it until beat 2. Or if you have a half note, and so on and so on, right? So that's a really great place to start whenever learning a new piece of music. And then from there, as you're learning the style, you can always scale back. But it's a little more difficult to add on than to scale back when we need to. Let me see if there's 1 minute. Oh my goodness. All right, I'll have to pick and choose what. Let's go right to the end. Oops, not to that end. About the last few measures. Whatever that will be. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Perfect. And the reason why, I'm going to take this away because you know it. When we start to depend on the music that is in front of us, even though we may or may not need it, certain things start to happen. We start to visibly show that we're counting a trill, or we may look at certain notes. We start to go into this place of analyzing what we need to do in that moment, which is very critical. We should always be thinking that way as we're performing, but it has to be balanced with your artistry of the act of giving. Play the last note. You got this. Incredible. And I could tell from that last note that's where you want it to be.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for playing. Probably going on the and as you go through like everything, really come into the music more and more in different ways.
Yeah.
And it's really awe-inspiring to hear and see. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening today.
Thank you.
Thank you.